Welcome back, everyone. We have again Saint Murad. Welcome back, Murad. What are we going to talk about today?
Great to be back, and now we will talk about my Quran translation, the first non-Islamic Quran translation ever to come into existence.
Explain that for some people maybe that who haven't seen part one. There have been non-Muslims who translated the Quran. What do you mean by first non-Islamic Quran translation?
Well, as we will see in this expose, this is like the very first translation that didn't rely on any Islamic material. It is just the Quran letting the Quran speak, as we will see in the slides.
Right.
So, Saint Murad's Quran translation, language based. This is the first translation that's just language based and didn't use any Islamic material. So, let me tell you my story because a lot of new people don't know who I am. I am a native Arabic speaker from the Middle East. Arabic is my mother tongue. I have never studied in any Islamic institution, and that is a plus because now I am not polluted with the sin propaganda, standard Islamic narrative propaganda. Throughout this journey, I was like in a game of chess with the Quran as I was translating the Quran. The very first time I have encountered English Quran translations was actually when I made my first video with Islamic origins, and that is you yourself.
Yeah. I remember it
So,
well.
yeah, so here is how the story goes. The first time we talked, you told me you can prepare a few notes, let's make a video. But then, of course, I had to get some Quran translation to back up my points. And then I found that Abdullah Yusuf Ali was the most famous. I just used him. And then another video, again, I used another translation because I was too lazy to translate the verse myself. I said, well, everyone translated it before. Even if it's bad, it's not gonna be too bad. But with time, I found that it is too bad and someone has to get the job done right. You
Yeah.
see? So our first encounter is actually what inspired this whole journey. We all have a common enemy, and that is the sin standard Islamic narrative. The only reason you trust the sin, not you, but the audience or anyone else watching, is that they never thought that it was this bad. That's one. And also, they think that it has no valid alternative. The sin is actually hiding the primitive layer of the Quran, which was suppressed mostly by the Abbasids. I said to myself, never touch the sin and let's translate the Quran without it. I knew that I was the only one to do it. So I swore an oath to deliver my people, the ones listening to me, the ones who like me, the best possible sinless Quran translation. Not just because I am very passionate about the subject, but also because they gave me so much love on YouTube and I want to give back. So here we have Muslim Quran translators and non-Muslim like Osama, Robert, and Mary Harb. What did they have next to them as they were translating the Quran? Well, the sin that makes them an orange. What did I have next to me as I was translating the Quran? Well, other stuff, linguistics. I had the Oxford Dictionary, I had الفروق اللغوية العسكري and other things that I will showcase after a while. That makes me an apple. So people saying what's the difference between me and them? Well, you are comparing apples to oranges. A totally different approach. So first thing first, checking the word and its variations in every single Quranic verse. I used an Arabic tool, Quran tool, which finds the Quranic word in every single verse and also counts them. It's called Al-Munaqqib al-Qur'ani, which is the Quran mining tool. That's the literal meaning of the word. This is a website that English speakers don't really use. It's very basic, very primitive. That's how I like it. This really helped me get the closest understanding to how the author actually intended the word without the pollution of the sin standard narrative. Now, let's try it. We have, for example, the word nasakha. When I look into this tool, I write nasakha, then I find 4 references. نسخ نسختها ينسخ نستنسخ. The word nasakha is mentioned 4 times in the Arabic Quran. In my translation, I have one English word for this Arabic Quran 4 times also. Why? Because the words I choose are so accurate that they fit like a glove in every single context. I have done this with every single word in the Quran, not once, but multiple times. This helped me with my next step, and that is the concordance. So here in the Saint Murad translation ladder, first step, creating a concordance from scratch. I started by creating my own concordance from scratch with every single word present in the Quran. This brought up a lot of surprises to the surface. This also led to ultra sharp accuracy. For example, the word asabi' is always translated as fingers, when they actually, in the Arabic, we have no fingers and toes, rather, we just have digits. This includes the thumb or the finger or the toe. The word
So
himar,
it's
yeah,
so just to interrupt, so it's the word is more ambiguous in Arabic. It can't be assumed to be fingers, is that right? It could be either fingers or toes.
exactly. Because in the Arabic, you do not have fingers and toes. You have digits, and this is the thumb or the finger or the toe.
What is that word in Arabic?
Asabi'.
Okay.
The word himar, for example, is always translated as donkey. In reality, it is exclusively a male donkey in the informal way. That's why I have it as jackass.
Hmm.
The word kelb is always translated as dog, when in reality, it is specifically a dog that hunts. It's a hound. And this is proven by Surah 5, verse 4. Please don't say stuff like, why is this important and this is trivial stuff? Because if you are being mediocre in translating words like this, then you will most likely be disqualified in translating words that affect the religion. So if someone tells me, Murad, this is not a big deal, this is the biggest of deals, you have to start from the very basic level and then build up. What do you think
Yeah, we
so
have to
far?
get the yeah, I'd 100% agree. We have to get the foundation right because if you think about all the conclusions we're drawing based on this foundation, if that foundation is shaky, we don't come to good conclusions. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think it just in general, the way language works is we all always learn words in context. And so what you're doing with your concordance is you're looking at the word and where it occurs in context each time it occurs in the Quran, and that's a great way of checking that you've got the right meaning.
Yeah, it's also a great way to eliminate the misunderstandings or the wrong interpretations, because it can't be like this here and here and here. Something is wrong. You see?
Yeah, and it cuts out a lot of the bias that you often see in the translation where they translate it a completely different way because they don't want a particular meaning to come across. So they're trying to cover up things, maybe.
Exactly. So here also I had ultra sharp word precision. Like a pencil, the more you sharpen it, the better. My concordance was becoming sharper and sharper by the day, sometimes serendipitously correcting errors from 14th centuries. Someone could ask me, Murad, can't I just use ChatGPT to get the correct Arabic non-sin meaning of words? I will say no. I personally tried that just to see how good AI is with such issues. But I found that ChatGPT is more dependent on the sin than Muslims themselves. It's as sinful as it gets.
Mm. That image you have there isn't recent answers by any chance. It looks very like a.
No, 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 no. This is just a random cartoon.
Okay, so any similarity, Thaddeus, is purely coincidental.
Purely coincidence. So now the concordance got sharper. The other thing I did with my methodology is that I actually read the whole dictionary. I then moved to another step which is not average, and that is I have read the entire dictionary over 4,000 pages. That is not the complete one, that's the abridged version. Oxford abridged version. I remember it took me something like 3 weeks. Why?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, why? That's to increase my vocabulary. The dictionary opens a lot of avenues that you never thought possible. I highlighted a lot of words that I knew might be in the Quran. So after I highlighted all these words, I basically took them out, and because I didn't want to forget them, I want them there so that I keep going back to them because I might use it in the future. And these words, I'm talking hundreds of words.
Yeah.
So now that I have read the entire Oxford Dictionary, it strengthened my concordance. Next step was reading an actual linguistic source, and that is الفروق اللغوية للعسكري, meaning the linguistic differences by Al-Askari. Why? To discern the very subtle differences between every Arabic synonym. I have also noticed that Muslims don't respect the Quran at all. They say it is a linguistic miracle, yet they don't obsess over linguistics. They don't read books like Al Askari, and they put their head into the sin standard Islamic hoax. You see, this book is very important. It cracks a lot of the code of the Quran actually, because it's only looking at the language. And I ask you, what do you think about
I think
that?
that's a good approach, and obviously there's no way that they could have what's what's the word for it? Cooked the book to fit with the Quran or anything like that to 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 keep the this dictionary, as it were. I don't know if we would call this a dictionary or not, or a linguistic book. There's no way they could have cooked it so that it supports the standard Islamic narrative. I think they would have just solely focused on the linguistics. I'd expect.
Yeah, this book is by someone who is also a poet. So whenever he gives you two synonyms, like for example, if I say in English, what's the difference between near and close? In the Arabic, we have the same thing. He provides poetic verses also from the Arabic poetry, and that opens the avenue so that you know exactly what it means. And this
Yeah.
is very different than the standard Islamic interpretation for the word.
Hmm.
But when I put it in the Quran, I find that it fits like a puzzle. This guy here is one of the missing puzzles that no one ever looked at. So after reading Abu Hilal al-Askari's linguistic differences, of course, that further sharpened my concordance. Now, English words of Arabic origin. I have read and looked into all possible English words of Arabic origin, or loan words. Why? So that the English word of my choice is not just accurate in meaning, but sometimes also a direct loan word and sounds the same. But don't worry, I have only used them in rare cases where the meaning and the sound are the same. So that is the next step. Now the concordance is even sharper. Concordance at this point is like 100% perfected. What about the word choice? Even more precision. In Arabic, just like the English, there are words that are formal, informal, humorous, vulgar, poetic, and so on. After I have perfected my concordance, I checked to find the perfect fit also. So, for example, if the Quran says enemy, is it enemy or foe? people, when they translate, they just clumsily choose anything. One is poetic,
Mm.
one is formal. I also translated the English words back into Arabic to see what comes out so that I can further choose a better word. You know, if you translate a word back into the original, it might show you how wrong you were. So this was a very powerful exercise that I have done also.
Yeah.
Now, a question which is archaic or modern English, what to choose when translating. And I ask, do you think we have the luxury to choose? I don't care. Anything that gets the job done. So my translation is a mix of both because this is the only way to encompass a Quranic word. And let me tell you that the Arabic Quran also has words that are more archaic and words that are more modern. Why have archaic pronouns? Well, in the English, you have a very firm translation to rely on, which is the King James Version. But when it comes to the Quran, you don't. That's why it had to come into existence. Is it necessary? Of course, and let me show you why. In Arabic, you have anta would be singular, antum would be plural, antuma would be a pair. Other translations, you. This is very clumsy. In my translation, you have thou, you have ye for plural, and you have both of you or the two of you, depending on the context in my translation. Now, why?
That's
Because the Quran, huh?
yeah. I was going to say that is actually very helpful, especially when you're reading a particular text and you're trying to get a sense of who's talking to who. So knowing that it's a difference between you as singular versus a pair of people, that could be hugely important. Particularly, let's say, if a text is basically using the Arabic for pair, and then they put in brackets, "Oh Muhammad" or something, you know they've got it wrong.
Exactly. And the question I ask the people, does the Quran need any more ambiguity? It's
No.
already ambiguous. So we need all the archaic pronouns to help us so that the reader is not confused if this is one person, two, or a multitude.
Hmm.
Now I started adding the final touches to my concordance. The concordance itself isn't for sale. I say this is like the KFC secret recipe, but it is all contained in my Quran translation. It took me 4 years to finish my concordance. Now that my concordance is complete, I then head to the Quran. And since I like being neat, I have manually dissected each surah of the Quran into PowerPoint slides like this, taking every page as a snapshot. I did this manually, by the way, so that every PowerPoint slide has half a Quranic page with a blank box next to it, as you can see here. And here I will write my translation. This task took me a few
Hmm.
days to complete, maybe close to a month. You see? So dissecting every surah into PowerPoint form, this is the next step. Now, from my concordance to the translation. That was the next step. Start translating. So I basically copied my concordance into my translation. This resulted in over 90% consistency rate. All other translations are not even 10% consistent. They don't even know what consistency means. If you read my translation, you will notice that it has very few vocabulary because this is how it is in the Arabic. This step took me just a few months. So it took me a few months to translate the Quran because, of course, I have built the concordance first, which is the powerful foundation. So from this perfected concordance to translating the Quran, then came out my Quran translation the Murad translation, and this is the process. What do you think so far?
It's incredible. It's mind-boggling the amount of work it's taken to get to this point. So I feel a great deal of appreciation personally and on behalf of the audience. So thank you so much for all this hard work.
Yeah. So now I want to talk a little bit about the design. I tried as much as possible retaining the design of the 1924 Arabic Quran. As you can see here, retaining all the symbols in the Arabic Quran, like this one. You will not find this one in any English translation. You will not find this one. And you will not find here, prostrate to him, for example, that it has a line. In the Arabic, it's overline. In the English, I just put it as underline. No problem, but it's just to copy the Arabic. So maybe if someone is looking into such stuff, we have to give him everything. These symbols are in the Arabic, you see?
Mm.
So this is the original Arabic Quran. This would be the Murad translation. It's a carbon copy. Now, are there brackets in my translation? Well, only one form of brackets, and I will explain what this is. Let's say the word rahat. Rahat, in English, it doesn't have one word to encompass the entire word. It means a clan ranging from 3 or 7 all the way to 10 or less. This is exactly copied from the Arabic dictionary. Now I ask you, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just say clan or what else? So I had to put it in these form of brackets just so that people know that this entire phrase is one Arabic word. I put it this way so that you know that this bundle of words actually represent one Arabic word. It's just to avoid confusion, but it is an integral part of the word, not an added commentary. I have no brackets. You cannot say these are brackets. So read my brackets, but I have them even with a different design because they are original. They come straight from the Arabic dictionary. This is something that's original. Don't think this is commentary. What do you think of this point?
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. So at least no meaning is being lost. If you just went for clan, there's actually a lot of inherent meaning that would have been lost. So I think that's a good approach. It's a good compromise.
Exactly, and it was necessary. It's something that I cannot help. There is no English word that has clan ranging from 3 or 7 all the way to 10 or less. So
Mm.
that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, are there untranslated words in my Quran translation? Well, let's see the opinion of Dr. Gert Puin, the one who was the head of the restoration project commissioned by the Yemeni government and the one who worked on this Sana'a manuscript, which might be the oldest Quran manuscript. He says the Quran claims for itself to be mubin or clear. But if you look at it, you will notice that every fifth sentence or so simply doesn't make sense. He also says if the Quran is not comprehensible, if it can't even be understood in Arabic, then it is not translatable. This is the opinion of Gert Puin. So untranslated words are a mistake of the author. This is not my mistake. I am okay with it being considered a negative in my translation, but I am not okay with just filling the gaps. So when they Arabized it, they ruined it. Of course, as you know, it was originally Syriac, they Arabized it and ruined it. The original meanings of these words are actually lost, and what we do is that we are trying to guess the original meaning. Yeah, before I go into that, do you have anything to add?
So in the case, let's say there was a word, I don't know, I don't know, Abba Baba or something. Okay, it's not a bad choice there actually, but what do you do in that situation? Do you just put it as it is in Arabic, or do you put a question mark? How
It's
do
a
you?
question mark in red brackets.
Okay. Yeah, I should also mention I had the pleasure of meeting Gerd Poon earlier this year, back in May at the Inara conference. I think it was back in May. Yeah, and he went over the story of his work with the Quran. I was going to interview him, unfortunately. Something happened. Someone to record it who disappeared just when I needed him to record on the camcorder. So anyway, we never got that done. That's a pity. But great man, very diligent, and it was great to meet him earlier this year.
Yeah, of course he is. I've heard only one interview with him in Arabic. He speaks Arabic, of course, and it was very enlightening.
Yeah.
So here, if I give you white sugar, eggs, baking soda, vanilla, milk, you could have an amazing cake, like the Christian group translated the Quran. Or you can have a horrible cake, like the Muslims translated the Quran. But the reality is, same ingredients, same results. Whatever it is a cake because it's the same ingredients. Now, here, if I give you yeast, flour, oil, pepperoni, and mushrooms, you can have a pizza. And this is the Quran translation of Saint Murad. Totally different ingredients, therefore different results. That's the difference between me and them. So here we can have another comparison. The original primitive meanings of the Quran and the sin standard Islamic rendition of the Quran. So here you will have the Muslims and the non-Muslims. They're all oranges. They all use the same material, the sin. I would be the only one who worked just with the language, just with the Quran without touching the sin. That would make me an apple. That's why I say, do not compare apples and oranges. Anything you have to say before we go into what makes this translation actually
Right.
unique?
So in terms of this translation, you are just dealing with it as is in terms of Arabic and translating it into English. You're not considering the Syriac at this stage. That would be an extra layer, a deeper layer that has been lost when it. So, like for example, those words that we no longer know the meaning of, it's probably because they have been badly transcribed from the Aramaic. They maybe if they've forgotten a diacritical mark or something else, so the meaning has been lost.
Yeah, exactly. And by the end of this presentation, I will talk about the Aramaic reading and the Syriac layer to the Quran.
Oh,
But
brilliant!
for now, yeah, but for now, this is the Arabic only. This is just assuming the Quran to be Arabic, giving Arabic its best shot.
Yeah.
So here I say that the Murad translation is a better revelation. And what makes this translation unique? Well, my translation is the missing link. People told me, Murad, you have to tell the people what makes your product better. I thought, better? It is not better, it is the first product to come into existence. It is the first ever Quran translation that actually ignored the entirety of the sin standard Islamic narrative. I didn't open any tafseer, I didn't open any hadith, none, zero. This translation will give you the hidden layer of the Quran, which was suppressed by the Abbasids and their sin standard narrative. You can say it serves as the missing link between the time of Muhammad, if he existed, till the Abbasid Caliphate. My translation will get you much closer to understanding the secrets of the Arabic language. Yes, it is not the final answer. The final answer might be a future Aramaic translation, but still, it is a very big step towards cracking the Quran's code. And allow me to illustrate here. Here you have Muhammad, if he existed, Rashidun, if they existed, and then the Umayyads and then the Abbasids. Here you have all other translators. They're all oranges. They worked with material coming from the Abbasids and beyond. But here, with the Murad translation, the only apple, you are close to this area. You might
Yeah.
cover this area. You see?
Mhm.
You won't realize how much deception there is in these translations before you read mine. Almost every single word in my translation is different than what you are used to. Here are a list of things or words not found in my translation. The word revelation, not the word as a word, but it is not wahy. Revelation, book, people of the book, sent down, unseen, disbelievers, infidels, battle of Badr, Yathrib, wife, husband, pair, everlasting, abrogation, hell, hellfire, missiles, forbidden, trial, test, good news, crucify, I seek refuge, lawful, unlawful, sedition, private parts, terror, booty, spoils of war, fight, and many, many more. What do you think of
Wow,
this?
that's incredible because if you just stop to think how many times these sort of words are referenced when people talk about the Quran, so it's really mind-boggling.
So, here I want to show you a major shift. You have Robert Spencer's Did Muhammad Exist? It created a major shift in the discourse over the internet. So there is a before this book and an after. This book actually influenced me on a personal level. This book is what started me, is what got me started to uh, to do what I do now, to look at outside the Islamic narrative. I love this book. And you have Hagerism, Making of the Islamic World, Patricia Cronin Cook, before and after also. There is a before and after this book. I foresee an era where there will be a before and after my translation. This is not because I'm cocky, it is because it really, genuinely opens a lot of new avenues for people to look into. What do you think?
I think it's fantastic. I can imagine there are a lot of scholars who are not that familiar with Arabic who need a book like this, who are trying to solve the origins of Islam and who are unfortunately not able to really get to the original. Or even if they know Arabic, they might be so influenced by the standard Islamic narrative that they're seeing things in the text that's not there. So for both of those groups, I think on the academic level, it's going to be a huge uh, game changer. It's also going to be great for the ordinary curious Muslim who actually would like to read what the Quran really says with a translation that they can trust and it's not biased to disguise things or hide things from them.
Yeah. Now, someone could ask, what will I lose if I do not get this translation? Not getting my Quran translation will cost you a lot of things. One, you will never be able to know the very literal meaning of Quranic words. Two, you will have to succumb to lies in all other Quran translations. Three, you will remain in the cage of the sin standard Islamic narrative. Four, you will never access the pre-Abbasid Caliphate understanding of the Quran. So, on one level, I don't want you to miss out. And on another level, I don't want you to be fooled. You see, that's the idea.
You're basically placing a red pill and a blue pill in front of people. People want to find out what it really means. They have to pick up the red pill, as it were,
Yeah, exactly.
to
It's
use the
because they
matrix.
think, yeah, it's because they think that the blue pill has some red in it. No, it's very blue. So you have
Yeah,
to get this one because it's very different than what you
yeah.
think. Now, how important is this project for you as a person? And this is for the people watching this. Let me ask you, how important is it for you to understand the hidden layer of the Quran and get closer to cracking the code of Islam? How important is it for you, if you are a Christian, because most of our audience are Christians, to preach to Muslims using the hidden linguistic Quranic layer? How important is it for you in general to spread such truth all over the internet? This is the question I ask the people.
Mm.
Now, at this stage, I will showcase my 4 products for the people. Just to be clear, my translation is digital only. There are no physical copies, and this is because it is still dangerous for me to make something like this. So I hope
Yeah, I
people
understand.
could understand this. You have an English only version, a PDF, which looks like this, and you have a Kindle English only version, which looks like this. I created a Kindle, by the way, and I do not have a Kindle device. I had to learn everything and imagine that this is a Kindle. Second, you have an Arabic plus English version, PDF, and it looks like this. You have the Arabic on the right, and you have the English on the left,
Nice.
and a Kindle version with the Arabic and English also. And this was
Yeah,
very difficult for me to make, Mel. Very
can you
difficult.
imagine? Yeah,
Because Kindle is very, very stubborn. So I had to learn everything. I did it myself.
he said.
So, what are the offers that I will give the people? Firstly, this question that I hate: why is your translation costing money when there are ones online for free? My answer is, when you go to Walmart and you get something for free, it is because you know that it is garbage. So mine isn't for free because it is not garbage. It is high value and high quality. Of course, that doesn't mean that anything online is garbage which is free. I'm just telling you what's going on here. You see?
Yeah.
So, 2 offers that I have, one is low and one is high. I'm talking about the price. Who is the the light version for? Sorry, the light version is the cheaper one. This is for the casual viewers. These are the silent majority, the ones who always watch our videos but never comment, never like, but they're always here. The price of this product is equal to 2 of your regular coffees. One
Not bad at all.
product, what?
Not bad at all. That's a bargain considering,
Yeah,
all the 5 years work, that's a bargain.
yeah. One product, complete English only version PDF, but has some limits. The limits are, you have this watermark, and it cannot be printed, and it cannot be highlighted. And it is limited for 1,000 people only, meaning once it's out, it is out. I will not put it out again. So hurry up if you want this one. Now, who is the complete package for? And this is the pricey one. This one is for my warriors who believe in the cause. This offer is not for the casual viewers. You will be funding much bigger projects in the future, which you never thought possible. There are projects in my mind that I know people never thought possible. That's the covenant I will be having with you. So it will be 4 products. This is the complete package. And you will have everything, of course. The English only, PDF, Kindle, Arabic plus English, PDF, Kindle. 4 products. So here they're all laid out. The light version will be English only PDF, and you will lose all of this. And on the other side, the complete package, you'll have English only PDF, Kindle, and Arabic plus English PDF and Kindle 4 products. Plus, it can be highlighted and you can print pages if you like. You can highlight it. And plus a digital certificate that I have designed for people who will get this package. Before I go, what do you think of this so far?
I think it's great. I particularly like the complete package. It's going to be hugely helpful. As you know, I'm already using it on a regular basis for any new videos now because I go to your translation whenever I want to consult what's in the Quran because I really don't trust the translations that are there. It's just like um, asking for directions of someone who's a consistent liar. You know, it's pointless going to them to ask for directions. So if I want to know what the Quran actually really says, I go to your translation. So it's immensely helpful. And I think anyone out there who wants to minister to Muslims and try to bring the truth to them, I think you need this. You certainly need at least the English only version. But I think if you really want to go the full hog, I think you need the Arabic as well to be able to refer to the actual Arabic words, you know.
Yeah. Now, how do people download the Murad translation? Well, the link is in the description box. There is no registration required. That's the first thing. And no credit card fees. I take care of that for you. So you have the credit card or Apple Pay or Google Pay. All of these options, and maybe more options I'm not aware of right now. Also, local currency is available. So you can, I think, over 40 currencies. There is the Indian currency, there is the euro, and even more currencies are coming in. So you can pay with your currency. Now, the whole thing takes 4 seconds to complete. Me and my friend tested it at Buy Me a Coffee. Plus, you can easily do it by your phone, so you do not need a laptop or a desktop. So you can download right away. Also, there is a Patreon option. If you prefer Patreon, you will find it on my Patreon. I will eventually reply to every single comment of people who downloaded my translation. Also, you could inbox me any questions you have. It might take me a while to reply as there are a ton of people messaging me actually right now, but I will eventually reply. Okay, so before I go into this disclaimer, how's everything now?
That's great. I think you've explained it wonderfully. I think there'll be a lot of people watching that will be really excited about the prospects of being able to get all of this material. So well done.
Now, a disclaimer, this is very important. This Quran translation assumes the Quran to be 100% Arabic. It does not include the Aramaic reading of the Quran. I don't want to cause confusion. It is a sort of let's give Arabic its best shot. A complete Aramaic reading of the Quran would be an entirely different project with an entirely different concordance, again built from scratch. Because, Mel, if you want to have the Aramaic reading, then you have to have Aramaic grammar and syntax as well. And these things I am not well versed in. I have to ask real professors, you see?
Yeah. The- to be honest with you, your translation is really what the Quran says currently, and what the even disregarding the sin, it's essentially what the Arabic has been saying for 14 centuries, and maybe they have misconstrued some of the words into Arabic, causing confusion. But at least you are given a translation for what's there currently.
Exactly. It's just that I don't want people to get confused and think that the Aramaic layer is present in this translation. It is not. Now, depending on how people will respond to my content, it might be a separate project in the future. People are getting the translation, liking the videos, subscribing, all that good stuff. I will start working on another translation. You see, it depends on the people at this stage. An Aramaic reading of the Quran can't come into existence without this work being established first. So even if I wanted to make an Aramaic Quran, it's not easy. I have to make this work first. A completely new Aramaic Quran concordance has to be built upon a strong Arabic concordance. It is sort of like you can't bench press real heavy unless you have advanced the lighter weights first. No one goes and benches 315 before 225. It's impossible. Again, do we need another Quran translation? Let me ask you, do you actually have a Quran translation? What you have is a mere shadow of it. It is like calling this the Mona Lisa. Do you need another Quran translation? Yes, because you don't have one. You see? What do you think? Do you think this is the Mona Lisa?
No, I'm not convinced. Yeah, essentially, we don't really have up to now a proper translation. So we really do need a proper translation so we know what the Arabic is really saying. So I think that's a point well made.
Oh, and by the way, if you know of any Quran translations that is ultra literal, has no brackets, based on linguistics and not on the sin standard Islamic narrative, then you do not need my translation. But if you don't know of any, then back to square one. You have the two offers, the total, the complete package, or the light version. You choose, because this is the only logical conclusion to what I'm telling you.
I think they could be called the light version and the elite version. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, but this will. I don't want the light version to think they are not elite. They are elite in another way, actually.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the complete package is just the people that are really in with us, that are really showing up every time, that really want to fund these projects, you see.
yeah.
So download whenever you like, but believe me, you will be missing out on a lot of fun reading this masterpiece. And that's the final slide that I share with the people. Back to you.
Well, Murad, this has been insightful. It's great to actually finally see your methodology, how you got to translate the Quran the way you dealt with it diligently, step by step. Um, Quite incredible. It was great that you sat down and thought about how you're going to approach this to do the best job you could possibly do. I think looking to the future, if you ever do an Aramaic version, that's obviously going to be a way harder challenge. Probably, I don't know. I know you're a lone ranger, but you probably will need the assistance of Aramaic speakers for that one. I'd say, would you?
Yeah, Aramaic and Hebrew.
Oh, yeah, and Hebrew as well. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Quran, like you see, this is an onion. I
yeah.
now have like the middle layer of the onion. But if you want to go
Mm.
to the very heart of the onion, then I myself am not qualified to do that. So I have
Yeah,
to consult with other people.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's great, Murad. Thank you very much for dropping by to the channel again and sharing the the methodology that you've used. So people can download it as of now and have their own copy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the people who will download this translation, they will have comments on this video. So whatever comments they have related to this translation, I will respond to them. So you could say this is premium customer service, you see. I will respond to anything related to the translation on this video.
Excellent. That's brilliant, Murad. Thank you so much for telling us all about it, and hope to have you on again in the not so distant future. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.